The stars look different today, Captain. Hansel Kim stood before the massive viewing window of Luna Base, watching the endless black space that surrounded Earth's moon. For 15 years he had commanded this monitoring station, and nothing unusual had ever happened. Today felt different. The alarm sounded sharp and loud through the base corridors. Red lights flashed on every wall. Hansel ran to the control room where his team worked at their stations with worried faces. "Captain, you need to see this," said Bo. "Rally the communications officer." Her fingers moved quickly across her keyboard. "We're picking up signals near Jupiter, big ones." Hansel looked at the main screen. 12 large objects appeared on the radar, each one bigger than any spacecraft Earth had ever built. They were moving toward the inner solar system at incredible speed. "How long until they reach Earth?" Hansel asked. "At their current speed, maybe 3 days." Bora replied. Her voice shook a little. The objects stopped moving when they reached Jupiter's orbit. For several hours nothing happened. Then the communication channels filled with static and strange noises. Bora worked hard to clean up the signal. Finally, a voice came through the speakers. It did not sound human. "People of the third planet," the voice said in broken English, "this is Admiral Vexar of the Sarian Empire. We speak for the Galactic Confederation. Your world will now belong to us." Hansel felt his blood turn cold. He had always wondered if aliens existed. Now he knew, and they were not friendly. "We demand you surrender now," the alien voice continued. "We know about your simple technology. You cannot fight us. Give up and some of you may live." Bora looked at Hansel with fear in her eyes. "Captain, what do we do?" Hansel thought quickly. Earth's governments had always talked about what to do if aliens came. There were secret plans, but he had never seen them. Right now, he needed to buy time. "Open a channel," he ordered. "This is Captain Hansel Kim of Earth Defense Force," he said into the microphone. "We received your message. We need time to discuss your demands with our leaders." The alien laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. "You have 72 of your hours," Admiral Vexar said. "Then we come to your planet, resist, and we will destroy your cities. Surrender and you will work for us on other worlds. Choose wisely, humans." The channel went dead. Han Solo immediately contacted Earth Command. Within minutes, every government leader on the planet knew about the alien threat. Emergency meetings started in every capital city. Meanwhile, Bo worked to intercept more alien communications. What she found made her stomach sick. "Captain," she said quietly, "I've been listening to their private channels. They're talking about strip mining our planet. They want to take all our metals and resources. The survivors will be sent to work camps on different worlds." Hanel clenched his fists. These aliens thought humans were weak and stupid. They planned to steal everything and make slaves of anyone left alive. "What else are they saying?" he asked. "They're laughing at us," Bora said with anger in her voice. "They think our technology is like toys. They say conquering Earth will be easier than their last 10 victories." Through the viewing window, Hansel could see Earth in the distance. The blue and white planet looked so peaceful. Soon, alien warships would surround it. The alien fleet began moving again. 12 massive ships, each one shaped like a long triangle, headed toward Earth. Their hulls were dark metal that seemed To absorb light, weapons covered every surface Earth governments worked. Frantically, President Myung-Yun called for emergency meetings with military leaders around the world. Every news channel showed the approaching alien fleet. People started to panic in the streets, but Hansel noticed something strange. High-ranking military officers seemed calm, too calm for such a terrible situation. Some even smiled when they thought no one was watching. Bora, Hansel said, send a message to Earth Command, ask about Protocol 7. Bora's fingers flew over her keyboard. The reply came back quickly. Classified, maintain current position. Wait for orders, Protocol 7. Hansel had heard whispers about secret projects, hidden research, and mysterious construction in deep space. He had always thought they were just rumors. The alien fleet moved closer. Admiral Vexar sent more messages, each one more threatening than the last. Humans, he said, we have studied your pathetic species. You fight with chemical explosives and metal bullets. Your spacecraft moves slower than our cargo ships. You are like insects compared to us. The aliens were very confident, too confident. They acted like Earth's defeat was already certain. On the second day, strange reports came from around the solar system. Mining stations went silent. Research outposts stopped responding to calls. Deep space telescope shut down without explanation. Captain Bora said, I'm getting weird energy readings from the asteroid belt, and something big is moving behind Saturn. Hansel frowned. Show me. Readings were confusing. Large objects were moving in space, but they appeared and disappeared from sensors like ghosts. As the deadline approached, the alien fleet reached Mars orbit. They were close enough now to see Earth clearly. Admiral Vexar sent his final ultimatum. Humans, your time is finished. We will arrive at your planet in 6 hours. Surrender now or watch your cities burn. That's when Hansel received new orders from Earth Command. All stations maintain positions. Do not engage enemy forces. Wait for Protocol 7 activation. Whatever Protocol 7 was, it was about to happen. The alien fleet approached Earth with total confidence. They had no idea that hidden among the asteroids, behind the moons of gas giants, and in the dark spaces between planets, something waited for them. Admiral Vexar and his fleet thought they were about to conquer another weak world. They believed humans were primitive and helpless. Soon they would learn how wrong they were. But first the trap had to be set. Earth needed the aliens to come closer, to move into position where they could not escape. The game was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea they were already losing. Deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, red lights flashed in a secret command center that most people on Earth did not know existed. General Wu Jin Park stood before a wall of screens showing the alien fleet approaching Earth. He had waited 25 years for this moment. Sir, said his aide, the alien fleet will reach Earth orbit in 4 hours. Should we activate Protocol 7? Wu Jin nodded. Slowly send the signal. Wake up the fleet across the solar system. Hidden bases receive the activation code. Facilities that had been dark and silent for decades suddenly came to life. Power generators hummed to life. Massive doors opened in asteroids that were not asteroids at all, but carefully disguised shipyards behind Jupiter's largest moon. Engineer Dahan Choi felt the vibration through the deck plates as The TNS Leviathan powered up its main systems. She had spent 15 years working on this ship, the largest and most powerful warship ever built by human hands. All systems coming online, she reported to the bridge. Fusion reactors at full power, weapon systems ready, shield generators operating normally. The Leviathan was enormous, 3 km long and half a kilometer wide. It was more like a flying city than a spaceship. Its hull was made from materials that did not exist in nature, created in secret laboratories using technology reverse engineered from an alien probe that had crashed on Earth 50 years ago. That probe had changed everything. Earth's governments had worked together in secret, pooling their best scientists and engineers to study the alien technology. What they learned allowed humanity to make incredible advances in science and engineering. The public space program that people saw on television was just a cover story. While NASA and other agencies launched simple rockets and space stations, the real work happened in hidden facilities scattered throughout the solar system. Captain Sujin Hang walked onto the Leviathan's bridge for the first time in 3 years. The ship had been in standby mode, waiting for the day when humanity would need it. That day had finally come. Status report, she ordered. All departments report ready for combat, said her second in command. The fleet is moving into position. Through the bridge window, Sujin could see other ships appearing from their hiding places. Destroyers emerged from behind asteroids, cruisers uncloaked near the moons of Saturn, fighters launched from hidden bases throughout the outer planets. Humanity had built a fleet of over 60 warships in complete secrecy. Each one used advanced technology that was far beyond anything the aliens possessed, but the aliens did not know this. They still thought humans were primitive and weak. On Luna base, Captain Hansel Kim watched his sensors as strange energy signatures appeared throughout the solar system. He was beginning to understand what Protocol 7 really meant. Captain said, "Boy, I'm reading massive power sources all over the system. These readings are impossible. No human technology should be able to generate this much energy." Hansel smiled for the first time in 3 days. Maybe human technology is better than we thought. Admiral Vexar's fleet continued toward Earth, completely unaware of what was happening around them. The alien sensors were designed to detect the simple chemical rockets and nuclear reactors that humans were supposed to have. They could not detect the advanced fusion reactors and exotic matter drives that powered the real human fleet. The aliens had made a serious mistake. They had studied Earth's public technology and assumed that was all humanity possessed. They had not considered that a species smart enough to develop space travel might also be smart enough to hide their true capabilities. Earth's governments had learned an important lesson from history. Every time a technologically advanced civilization encountered a less advanced one, the results were terrible for the weaker group. Humanity had decided to make sure they would never be the weaker group. For 50 years, the best minds on Earth had worked in secret. They had solved problems that had puzzled scientists for generations. They had built weapons and ships that seemed impossible, and they had kept it all hidden until the day when Earth would need protection. Dahan Choi ran her hands over the control panels of the Leviathan's engineering section. Every system on the ship represented a breakthrough in human science. The ship's main weapon used antimatter, the most powerful energy source in the universe. Its shields could deflect energy weapons that could destroy mountains. Its engines could cross the solar system in hours instead of months. Engineering to bridge, she said into her communicator, all systems are perfect. We're ready for anything. The alien fleet was now close enough to see Earth. With their own eyes, Admiral Vexar stood on his flagship's bridge, looking at the blue and white planet that would soon belong to the Saurian Empire. Prepare landing forces, he ordered. This conquest will be quick and easy. The humans have no real weapons. His officers laughed and agreed. They had conquered dozens of worlds before. Humans would be no different from all the other weak species they had defeated, but hidden in the shadows of space. 60 human warships waited in perfect silence. Each captain had trained for years for this moment. Each crew knew exactly what they had to do. The trap was almost ready. The alien fleet was moving into the perfect position, surrounded on all sides by human ships they could not see or detect. Admiral Wu Jin Park watched the tactical display in his secret command center. Every piece was in place. The aliens had walked directly into the most perfect ambush in the history of warfare. All ships report ready, said his communications officer. Yuan smiled. The aliens thought they were about to conquer Earth. Instead, they were about to learn that humanity was far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The moment of truth was almost here. Soon the galaxy would learn that Earth was not a weak planet full of primitive creatures. Earth was the home of a species that had spent 50 years preparing for war, and they were very good at it. The alien fleet continued its approach, confident and arrogant. They had no idea that they were about to face the most advanced military force the galaxy had ever seen. In a few more hours, everything would change. The balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift, and humanity would take its place among the stars, not as victims, but as equals. President Myung Yun sat in the Oval Office, looking directly into the camera that would broadcast her message to the entire world. Behind her, military advisors and government officials watched with serious faces. To anyone watching, this looked like a moment of defeat and surrender. People of Earth, she began, her voice calm but sad, I have made the most difficult decision in human history, to save as many lives as possible. Earth will surrender to the alien fleet. We ask for safe passage for our civilian evacuation ships. Around the world, people watched in shock and despair. Many cried, some protested the streets, but in secret military facilities, officers smiled. President Yun was playing her part perfectly. Admiral Vexar received the surrender message on his flagship and laughed with satisfaction. Exactly as expected, he told his officers, these humans are even weaker than our intelligence suggested. They give up without firing a single shot. The alien fleet moved into Earth's orbital space with complete confidence. They spread out to cover all the major cities and military installations. Each ship took position exactly where the human tacticians had hoped they would. On the secret command ship hidden behind Earth's moon, Tactical Officer Sun Ho Nam watched as the alien vessels positioned themselves perfectly in his trap. Every alien ship was now surrounded by hidden human warships, but the aliens still could not detect them. Sir Shangho reported to Admiral Wu Jin. Park. Enemy fleet is in optimal position. All our ships are ready. Wu Jin nodded. The aliens had made another critical mistake. Instead of staying together where they could support each other, they had spread out to control more territory. Now each alien ship was isolated and outnumbered. Lieutenant Hijin Kang worked frantically at her intelligence station, maintaining the electronic deception that kept the human fleet hidden. Her computers sent false signals to the alien sensors, making human warships appear to be cargo vessels and civilian transports. Alien sensors are reading our destroyers as mining ships, she reported. They think our cruisers are passenger vessels. Deception is holding perfectly. The aliens had advanced technology, but they had grown lazy and arrogant over thousands of years of easy conquests. They relied too much on their sensors and not enough on careful observation. Human intelligence officers had studied alien technology for 50 years and knew exactly how to fool it. As the civilian evacuation began, dozens of ships launched from Earth and headed toward the outer planets. To alien sensors, these looked like frightened refugees fleeing the conquest. In reality, they were the last human warships moving into position. Admiral Vexar watched the evacuation ships with amusement. Look how they run, he said to his bridge crew, like scared animals. This species will make excellent workers in our mines. But one of his junior officers looked worried. Admiral, I'm detecting some unusual energy readings from those ships. Vexeter waved dismissively. Primitive human technology always produces strain readings. Their reactors are inefficient and poorly designed. Pay no attention to it. This was exactly what Lieutenant Hijin had expected. Her false energy signatures made human fusion reactors look like malfunctioning chemical engines. The aliens dismissed what they saw because it matched their prejudices about human technology. Captain Sujin Hang guided the massive Leviathan closer to Earth, hidden behind a holographic projection that made it appear to be a large asteroid. The ship's stealth systems were so advanced that it could approach within a few thousand km of the alien flagship without being detected. Distance to target, she asked her navigation officer. 3,000 km in closing. We could destroy their flagship with a single shot from this range. Hold position, Sujin ordered. We wait for the Admiral's signal. Throughout the solar system, human ships held their positions with perfect discipline. Fighter squadrons hid behind asteroids. Destroyers lurked in the shadows of moons. Cruisers maintained silent running mode while staying within weapons range of their targets. The aliens continued to believe they were in complete control. They sent shuttles down to Earth's major cities, planning to set up administrative centers for their new conquest. Their soldiers prepared to begin the process of cataloging human resources and selecting the most useful slaves. Admiral Vexar called another meeting with his ship commanders. The conquest proceeds perfectly, he announced over the communication channel. Resistance was even lighter than predicted. We will complete the occupation within one standard cycle. His subordinates agreed enthusiastically. This was turning out to be the easiest conquest in recent memory. Some of them were already planning how to spend their share of the profits from Earth resources, but Engineer Dahan Choi, monitoring alien communications from the Leviathan, heard something that made her blood run cold. The aliens were discussing their plans for humanity in detail, and those plans were worse than anyone had imagined. They're not just planning to use us as workers, she reported to Captain Hang. They want to use humans for medical experiments. They think our biology might be useful for developing new weapons. This changed everything. The aliens were not just conquerors, they were monsters who saw humans as laboratory animals. Any thoughts of mercy or negotiation vanished from the minds of the human commanders. Admiral Wu Jin received Ian's report and felt his anger grow cold and deadly. These aliens had made their intentions clear. They saw humanity as nothing more than resources to be exploited and experimented on. All ships, he transmitted on the secure channel. Target priority has changed. No prisoners, no mercy. These aliens have shown us what they really are. The final pieces of the trap fell into place. Human ships had surrounded the alien fleet completely. Every enemy vessel was targeted by multiple human warships. Escape routes were blocked by hidden minefields and patrol squadrons. President Yun's surrender had been a perfect deception. While the aliens celebrated their easy victory, humanity had prepared the most devastating surprise attack in the history of warfare. Xiang Ho Nam looked at his tactical display with satisfaction. 12 alien ships, thinking they were masters of the solar system, had no idea they were actually prisoners in the largest trap ever constructed. Admiral, he reported, all ships confirm ready. The alien fleet is completely surrounded, so escape is possible. Wu Jin looked at the chronometer on his command screen. In 60 seconds, the deception would end and the real war would begin. The aliens had demanded Earth surrender. Instead, they were about to face humanity's wrath. The moment had arrived to show these arrogant invaders what happened when they threatened Earth. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was not a species to be conquered and enslaved. The trap was perfect. The aliens were in position, and humanity was ready to spring the most devastating surprise in galactic history. Admiral Wu Jin Park's voice cut through the silence of space. With a single word, execute. Across the solar system, 60 human warships dropped their concealment fields simultaneously. In the space of 3 seconds, the alien fleet went from feeling secure and victorious to being completely surrounded by an enemy they had not known existed. The TNS Leviathan uncloaked directly above Admiral Vexter's flagship, its massive 3 km hull blocking out the stars. The alien bridge crew stared in shock at the enormous ship that had appeared from nowhere. What is that thing? Vexar whispered, his reptilian face pale with fear. On the Leviathan's bridge, Captain Sujin Hang opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Her voice was calm and professional, but her eyes burned with cold anger. Admiral Vexar, she said, this is Captain Sujin Huang of the Terran Defense Force. You are completely surrounded. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded or face the consequences. Vexar's shock quickly turned to rage. Impossible, your species doesn't have this technology. Our intelligence reports showed you barely have chemical rockets. Sujin smiled without warmth. Your intelligence was wrong. We've been watching you for 50 years, learning from your mistakes, preparing for this day. You thought we were primitive. You were wrong. Throughout the alien fleet, panic spread. As commanders realized the true scope of their situation, every alien ship found itself facing multiple human vessels, each one larger and more advanced than anything in their flight. Commander Jiho Park led the first wave of human fighters as they swept around the alien ships. The small, fast fighters moved with incredible speed and agility, dancing around the slower alien vessels like deadly birds. Alpha Squadron to all fighters. G. Transmitted. Show them what human engineering can do. The human fighters performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. They accelerated faster than the alien sensors could track, turned sharper than the laws of physics should have allowed, and fired weapons with pinpoint accuracy from distances that made the aliens dizzy. How are they moving like that? An alien pilot screamed over the communication channel before his ship was disabled by a precisely aimed shot that took out his engines without killing the crew. Engineer De-Hyun Choi monitored the Leviathan systems as the massive ship prepared for combat. Every reactor was running at perfect efficiency. Every weapon system was charged and ready. Every shield generator hummed with barely contained energy. Captain Shi reported all systems optimal. The ship is performing even better than our best projections. The Leviathan's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of the simple energy beams and projectile weapons used by most species, human ships carried antimatter cannons, quantum torpedo launchers, and gravitational pulse guns that could tear apart enemy vessels at the molecular level. Admiral Vexar tried to rally his fleet. All ships attack formation. Concentrate fire on the largest enemy vessel they cannot possibly have shields strong enough to withstand our combined firepower. The alien fleet opened fire on the Leviathan with everything they had. Energy beams that could melt mountains struck the human ship shields and simply vanished. Missiles that could destroy cities exploded harmlessly against the advanced defensive systems. Shields holding at 98%, reported the Leviathan's tactical officer. Enemy weapons are having no effect. Sujin shook her head sadly. They still don't understand. Show them what real power looks like. The Leviathan's main antimatter cannon began to charge. Energy readings spiked to levels that made the alien sensors scream warnings. The weapon drew power from the ships. Massive reactors building up. Destructive force beyond anything the aliens had ever witnessed. Captain said. The weapons officer, target locked. Ready to fire. Fire a warning shot. Sujin ordered, let them see what we're capable of. The antimatter cannon fired a single shot at a small asteroid floating nearby. The beam struck the rock and completely vaporized it in a flash of pure energy. Not destroyed, not broken apart, completely converted to energy and scattered across space. Alien fleet fell silent. Their most powerful weapons could crack that asteroid apart. The human ship had made it simply ceased to exist. Bexar stared at the empty space where the asteroid had been. That's not possible, he whispered. No species has mastered antimatter weapons. The technology is too dangerous for you. Sujin replied, humans have a different relationship with dangerous technology. We master it instead of fearing it. The alien admiral tried desperately to understand what was happening. His species had ruled part of the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had conquered Hundreds of worlds. They had technology. That seemed like magic to most species. How could these primitive humans be so much more advanced? I don't understand. He transmitted to the human ship. How is this possible? You were supposed to be barely past nuclear technology, science. Officer Young Misong answered from the Leviathan Science Station. You made the same mistake most old species make. You assumed that because we were young, we were stupid. You stopped learning and growing. We never did. It was true. The older galactic civilizations had reached a certain level of technology and then stopped advancing. They were comfortable with what they had. They saw no need to push further, to take risks, to try new things. Humanity was different. Humans never stopped asking questions, never stopped looking for better ways to do things. In 50 years, they had advanced further than most species had in 1,000 years. Your mistake, young me continued, was thinking that age equals wisdom. Sometimes fresh thinking is more valuable than old knowledge. The alien fleet attempted one final desperate attack. All 12 ships fired their weapons simultaneously while charging forward, hoping to overwhelm the human defenses. Through sheer force, weapons officer Dong Wuli calmly activated the Leviathan's point defense systems. Hundreds of small weapons tracked every incoming projectile and energy beam. Lasers and particle beams reached out with impossible accuracy, destroying missiles before they could reach the ship and deflecting energy weapons into empty space. All enemy fire neutralized. Dong Wu reported, no damage to any of our ships. The alien charge was stopped. Cold, human fighters swarmed around the alien vessels, disabling their weapons and engines with surgical precision. Within minutes, the entire alien fleet was helpless, dead in space with their crews unharmed but their ships completely powerless. Admiral Vexar's flagship drifted helplessly as human ships surrounded it. His crew sat at their stations in stunned silence, unable to believe what had just happened. Admiral Vexar. Captain Hang's voice came over the communication system. You have two choices. Surrender now and accept our terms for a new relationship between our species, or we will demonstrate what happens to those who threaten Earth. Vexar looked around his bridge at his defeated crew. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Saurian Empire, had been destroyed without the humans losing a single ship. More than that, the humans had done it while barely trying. They had used only a fraction of their firepower and had disabled rather than destroyed the alien vessels. The old admiral finally understood the truth. Humanity was not a primitive species to be conquered. They were the most advanced military force the galaxy had ever seen, and they had been hiding in plain sight for decades. The age of easy conquest was over. The galaxy had a new power, and that power belonged to Earth. Admiral Wu Jin Park's voice carried across all communication channels, reaching not just the defeated alien fleet but every listening post and relay station in the local galactic sector. This is Admiral Wu Jin Park of the Terran Defense Force, he announced to all civilizations monitoring this engagement. Witness what happens when Earth is threatened. The Leviathan moved slowly through space toward a small moon orbiting Mars, and the rocky satellite was about 50 km across, large enough to be clearly visible to all the sensors. Watching this historic moment, Captain Su Jin Huang stood on her bridge, looking out at the moon that would soon demonstrate humanity's true power to the galaxy. She felt no joy in what was about to happen, only a cold determination to protect her species. Engineering, what's the status of the main cannon? She asked. Dahan Choi checked her readings from the engine room. Main antimatter cannon charged to full power. Energy output is stable. We're ready, Captain. Admiral Vexar watched from his disabled flagship, his reptilian features twisted with fear and disbelief. You cannot be serious. That much power, it's impossible for any ship to generate that much energy. Science Officer Young Mi Song looked at the alien admiral through the communication screen. You keep saying things are impossible. That's your problem, right? There, humans don't accept impossible as an answer. She was right. While the alien civilizations had spent thousands of years telling themselves what couldn't be done, humanity had spent 50 years figuring out how to do it anyway. Every limitation was seen as a challenge to overcome, not a permanent barrier. Your people stopped growing. Young continued. You reached a certain level of technology and decided it was enough. We never stopped pushing forward. We never stopped asking what comes next. The Leviathan positioned itself at a safe distance from the target moon. Throughout the ship, crew members secured themselves for the massive energy discharge that was about to occur. All stations report ready, said the ship's executive officer. Sujin took a deep breath. What they were about to do would change everything. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. Fire, she ordered. Quietly, the main antimatter cannon unleashed its full power. A beam of pure energy lanced out from the Leviathan. Brighter than a star and hotter than the core of a sun, it struck the small moon and kept going, boring through 50 km of rock and metal in less than a second. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The moon hung in space, seemingly unchanged. Then it began to glow from within as the antimatter reaction spread through its core. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The moon didn't just break apart, it was converted entirely to energy, creating a brief new star that outshone Mars itself. The shock wave spread outward in all directions, a perfectly spherical wave of light and radiation. When the light faded, nothing remained. The moon was gone completely, leaving only empty space and scattered particles that would take millions of years to coalesce into anything solid. Again, absolute silence filled all communication channels, every alien in the watching fleet, every sensor operator at distant listening posts, every military commander throughout the local galactic sector had just witnessed the complete annihilation of a celestial body by a single shot from a single ship. Vexar's bridge crew stared at their screens in shock. Their most powerful weapons could crack asteroids and damage small moons. The human ship had made a moon simply cease to exist. That was a demonstration. Admiral Park's voice cut through the silence. Earth possesses 47 ships capable of this level of firepower. We have enough antimatter to sterilize every planet in this galactic sector, but we don't want to do that. His words carried across subspace communication networks to every corner of the local galaxy. Military commanders who had been planning their own invasions of Earth suddenly found themselves reconsidering their strategies. We want peace, Park continued, but we will accept nothing less than respect and equality, the aid of stronger species conquering weaker ones is over. Earth will see to that. Vexar finally found his voice. How many ships like that monster do you have? Enough, Sujin answered simply. More than enough to defend ourselves and our allies, but Weapons Officer Dong Wui decided to be more specific. The Leviathan is our largest ship, but not our only one. We have 12 Behemoth-class vessels, 35 Dreadnought-class cruisers, and over 300 smaller warships. Every single one uses technology beyond your current understanding. The numbers hit the alien commanders like physical blows. Earth didn't just have one super weapon disguised as a ship, they had an entire fleet of them. Flight Commander G. Park's fighter squadrons performed another demonstration, this time showing off their defensive capabilities. Alien sensors watched in amazement as the small human fighters created energy shields strong enough to deflect direct hits from cruiser-class weapons. How do such small ships generate that much power? Asked one of the alien captains. Miniaturization, Jiho replied. We learned to make everything smaller and more efficient. Your ships are large because your technology is wasteful. Our ships are smaller because our technology is better. It was another painful truth. Alien ships were massive because they needed huge reactors and weapon systems to generate respectable power. Human ships accomplished the same results with equipment a fraction of the size. Young My song began broadcasting a detailed explanation of human technological philosophy to the alien fleet and anyone else listening. Most species develop technology to solve immediate problems. She said they create something that works and then stop improving it. Humans are different. We improve everything constantly, even when it already works well. She brought up holographic displays showing the progression of human technology. 50 years ago, our computers filled entire rooms and had less processing power than the devices your soldiers carry. Today, our computers are smaller than your fingernails and more powerful than anything in your fleets. The aliens stared at the displays with growing understanding and fear. Humanity had undergone technological advancement at a rate that seemed impossible to species used to centuries of gradual change. But the real difference, Young Mi continued, is that we share our knowledge freely among all humans. When one human discovers something new, every other human can learn from it immediately. You species hoard knowledge, protect secrets, compete with each other. We cooperate. This was perhaps the most shocking revelation of all. The galactic civilizations were used to different groups within the same species, fighting over technology and resources. Humanity had achieved something unprecedented. True global cooperation in the face of external threats. Admiral Vexeter made one final attempt to understand his defeat. Even with all this technology, how did you hide it from us? Our scouts surveyed your system for months before we attacked. Lieutenant Hijin Kang answered from her intelligence station. We've been watching you watch us for 50 years. We know exactly how your sensors work, what they look for, how they process information. Hiding from you was easy once we understood your technology. The implications hit the alien commanders like a series of hammer blows. Not only did humans have superior technology, they had been using it to spy on alien civilizations for decades. Earth knew the weaknesses and capabilities of every major galactic power. How many other species have you been watching? Vexar asked with growing Dread all of them, Hyojin replied. Simply, every major civilization, every military force, every potential threat. To Earth, we've been preparing for this day since the moment we found your crashed probe 50 years ago. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place. Earth hadn't developed their advanced technology in isolation. They had reverse-engineered alien technology and then improved it far beyond what the original creators had thought possible. You took our technology and made it better than we ever could, Vexter said, with something approaching admiration. That's what humans do, Admiral Park replied. We take the best ideas from anywhere and make them better. Now, Admiral Vexar, it's time to make a choice. Will your empire accept Earth as an equal, or do we need to have this conversation with your replacements?